respecté dans les premières secondes, c'est ce qu'on lui demande. Dans son coin!
They call him the phenomenon. But in the ring, he's closer to Tyson. No pauses, no dancing, only pressure, only destruction. Every punch feels like it drains the air from his opponent's lungs. Kevin Lele Sadjo, the Cameroonian nightmare who stepped out of the shadows to become the French phenomenon. Now he's a threat to the entire super middleweight division. In his sights, the heads of the top names. Who can stop him? Let's find out. An ethnic Cameroonian, born in France, 1990. He came to boxing late, but instantly made noise with sheer power and aggression.
Oh là 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 là, allez, bon, les coups pleuvent, ça devient difficile. Oh là là là, devant nous là, oui.
There were no big wins as an amateur.
Oh là là, il vacille. Voilà, bravo.
But there was one fight against future star Christian Mbili in the Olympic qualifiers. Sadjo lost on points, but learned the ultimate lesson: never leave your fate in the judge's hands. In the pros, he started like a storm. 4 fights, 4 knockouts, and by the 5th, a title shot. On paper, just the French title. In reality, a trial by fire. Ismailov tried to retreat, but even a single step back cost him dearly. Sadjo cut off the ring with ruthless precision, pressing his body forward, tearing through the distance, landing single shots, each one echoing like a sledgehammer smashing steel. Round 3, a left hook, and the champion staggered. The final minute, another storm. With 15 seconds left in the 4th, Ismailov's guard crumbled, and an explosion rained down on him. That night, a new French champion was born, and with him, the phenomenon, not a nickname, a force, a real threat to the entire division. 2 months later, the first defense, an experienced veteran, 50 fights behind him. But Sadjo doesn't wait a second. Once again, he strangles the pace. The same steamroller that flattened Ismailov is rolling again. Mid-round, a thunderous right hand. Combinations raining down like a machine with no brakes. Closing seconds, a left to the liver. His opponent folded, but somehow survived the bell. Round 2, the bulldozer gains speed. Each shot smashing through walls. Roy backs up, shells up, complains. But in the ring, Sadjo doesn't hear. He only crushes forward. Round 3, the same suffocating press. A vicious overhand, followed by a hammer to the body. Roy stumbles back, then a rib-shaking right. Once again, the Cameroonian bulldozer storms ahead, Another explosion.
Le tapis du coup pour le challenger. Encore dans cette troisième reprise. Là encore à terre.
He charges in for the finish and closes it brutally. A left to the ribs, a right to the head.
Une sixième en autant de combats, en autant de victoires.
The opponent collapsed like a tree being chopped down. Tried to pretend it was a slip, but everyone saw the truth.
Et le combat.
Bien touché, ça me permet toujours d'avoir les mains qui reviennent.
5 fights, 5 demolitions. Some never came out for the next round. Some were switched off in 2. Some lasted 8, but were ground to dust. Every walk to the ring, new destruction. Every opponent, a fresh mark beneath the steamroller. The next opponent didn't even realize what had happened. The Argentine stepped in for a title war and left with a broken leg and a torn ankle, all of it in a single round. A right hand to the ribs, immediately upstairs.
Dans les premières secondes, c'est ce qu'on lui demande. Dans son coin! Se faire respecter et envoyer à terre.
He gets up, dazed, but the phenomenon traps him on the ropes.
Il va pas pouvoir continuer. Même s'il se jette, il est KO. Il est KO l'Argentin.
The third assault, even harsher. A right to the body, a scream of pain, and the end.
Faire mal, faire reculer. Mansilla, c'est terminé.
Après, il faut placer les coups au bon moment. Il ne faut pas les placer bêtement.
After Mansilla, almost a year of silence. The pandemic shut down arenas. Lockdowns killed the rhythm. The world froze, and with it, the phenomenon. But when the silence broke, Sadjo returned hungry. The Spaniard Landita survived, but was overwhelmed on the scorecards. The Argentine Javier Maciel lasted 8 rounds, but posed no riddles. And here it was, the turning point. The vacant European title lay on the table. Whoever grabbed it first would wear the crown. Sadjo shot in like a bullet. A late replacement with just a couple of weeks' notice. Right into enemy territory, Manchester. The crowd roared for Cullen, but Sadjo only heard the clang of steel inside himself.
Straight shots. Good left hook by the left eye of Jack Cullen. Has that come from a shot?
He advanced like a wall, sliding toward his opponent. Inevitable, heavy, crushing. Each shot landed like a steel beam slamming into a metal frame. Cullen tried to keep the distance, but the ring kept closing in. His height, instead of an advantage, became an anchor.
To concern Jack.
End of the second. A cut. Blood streaming above Cullen's eye. And in the sixth, Sadjo drove the nail in. A left to the liver.
Oh, tremendous shot from Kevin Sadjo. And Cullen, after an attack of his own.
Cullen folded, tried to rise, and sank again.
Continue here as the celebrations.
The crowd froze. Sadjo dropped down and did push-ups in the middle of the ring. The French hammer was now European champion. He didn't just take the belt, he hammered his name into the map of the division, and everyone higher on the ladder was now watching the phenomenon with unease. After Manchester, there were no more doubts. Sadjo was no longer a shadow stepping in as a replacement. He was a figure, he was a threat, and he kept moving, with the inertia of a hammer. After another defense, another routine fight, Sadjo set his eyes on the next prize.
Check your hand and protect yourself all time.
Elbir, a stubborn Turk fighting out of Germany. The first one to go for broke, and the first one to pay the price. Sadjo slammed the body, smashed the head. Elbir tried to answer, but each time he got hit back twice as hard. In the second, fouls and headbutts. A warning. Sadjo only grew angrier. He hacked at the body like an axe chopping down oak. Elbir shelled up, complained, shoved. But the more he pushed, the harder Sadjo struck. Seventh round, another head clash, and the beast was fully awake. Sadjo pinned him to the ropes and unloaded. A storm, an explosion. One more furious series, and the fight was stopped. The French Hammer claimed the WBO Intercontinental belt, sending a clear message. Even the serious challengers had no escape. But one veteran refused to agree.
Je ne cherche pas forcément le chaos, ça vient tout seul. Même moi, souvent, ça me surprend.
Giovanni De Carolis, a champion of the past, a warrior forged in fire, years, and titles. He came for another belt, but what he met was a hammer. From the very first gong, the hammer of the French beast pounded his body. A cannonade of punches, no pauses, no breath. The Carolis tried to hold, to slip away, to answer back, but by the end of the second, he was down on one knee. Not broken, but cracked. Round 5, a spark. The Italian came alive, moving, even landing shots, but the fire faded quickly. Sadjo pressed again and struck again, as if hitting armor already splintering. In the eighth, the French war machine exploded at the ropes. And the towel flew into the ring. The Italian couldn't believe it, but it was real. The finish had come. Next stop, the Zenith in Paris. The phenomenon walked in for another trophy, the vacant WBC silver belt. His opponent, the rugged Argentine, Durval Palacio, massive, sticky, with a grinding style. They fought chest to chest, no distance, no rest. Fouls, clashes, constant tension. But even in that mud, the Cameroonian was stronger. And 6 months later, under the palms of the Bahamas, another victim, a name from the past, a fighter who once held Timothy Bradley to a draw.
Is a draw.
But Chavez looked heavy, late, out of place.
Con 10 kilos menos.
Suele repetir ese cruzado.
From the opening seconds, the phenomenon pressed.
Se le fue al humo el africano, que buen gancho al cuerpo.
Body shots, head shots, not a second to breathe.
Derecha de Sadjo, ahora una presentación, llegó a la espalda, ese mazazo del.
And in the fourth, the avalanche, a right hand like a hammer to stone.
Aguantando allí sobre las cuerdas, cambiando golpes. Es una situación inconveniente para Chávez, que se va a la lona.
He rose, only to be drowned under a storm of punches.
El bonaerense, derecha, cruzada, izquierda, arriba, derecha. Zurdazo y ala.
And the towel flew into the ring.
Allí se queda allí.
The phenomenon kept his zero, and now his road leads either to the fearsome Mbili or down to middleweight, chasing a world title. After the Bahamas came silence. The IBF ordered Sadjo versus Mbili, French versus French, old rivalry, amateur past, a title eliminator on the line, but instead of a big fight, a scandal. Mbili stepped aside. Officially, he chose another path through the WBC. In truth, he refused to fight. Once again, the French hammer was avoided. So he traveled to Africa. Malabo, Equatorial Guinea. Ahmed, a former world title challenger. 30 wins, experience, a name. But today, just a step.
Exactement. On voit Kevin, lui qui...
In round 2, Sadjo trapped him on the ropes and dropped him to a knee. And in the third, he finished him with a crushing body assault. Another victim, another step closer to the world summit. Kevin Lele Sadjo, 35 years old, 25 fights, 25 wins, 22 knockouts, from Cameroonian roots to the heart of the French ring, from army discipline to an immaculate trail of finishes. He doesn't rush, he breaks. He doesn't chase, he advances. Every time he steps through the ropes, he brings pressure, weight, steel. He's torn through Europe like a storm through a shoreline, leaving only wreckage and cracks. And with each fight, the phenomenon is no longer just a fighter. He's becoming a force of nature. Now only one question remains. Who dares to face the French phenomenon? Not to win, but just to remain standing. If you're following the rise of a true threat to the super middleweight division, support this video with a like. The storm is only getting louder.